Today I'd like to talk and discuss about DAOs. So DAO is the new buzzword in Web3 right now, and like many people are creating DAOs. So let's see what actually DAO is and how do they work. So before start, let me introduce myself. I'm Viral Sangani. I'm a software developer at GeekyAnts and a Web3 enthusiast. You can find me at this handlers if you want to discuss about Web3 ideas, or if you just want to say hi, you can reach out to me or on this handlers. And I've been writing tutorials for Figment Learn, so you can go to this blog.viralsangani.me and find a curated tutorials for Web3 and DeFi. Uh, so let's start about DAO. DAO is an acronym for Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. And without any jargons, it's an organization run by code agreed upon by the people who started the DAO. So it's just a piece of code that people writes, and this piece of code had some rules. And according to the rules, the organization functions. That's the simplest thing that I can like explain DAO with. So let's see the key features of a DAO. So before going forward, let's see some examples of a DAO so you can just better understand what actually a DAO is. So DAO can be a charity DAO. If you think about a charity DAO, it can be a DAO where people who want to donate will donate to a DAO, and all the donations will be accumulated inside a DAO's treasury. We call the DAO's bank account as a treasury. You can see, and the people of the DAO votes on who should receive this donations. This is how a DAO works. People put in the tokens or people put in the work, and the community decides and votes on what particular feature to implement. Other example could be a freelancer DAO, where group of freelancers comes together and pull in the funds, and then they decide, let's say, to rent out a working space, or let's say they wanted to buy a some subscriptions. Or one of the greatest example of DAO is the VC funds and the grants, where people and the investors basically fund put their funds for investment, and all the community inside a DAO votes on which project they want to invest in. So this is what a DAO is: just a piece of code where people can connect their dApps with and uses the functionality. So let's see the features. It's a member-owned community, so there is no centralized leadership like in a typical organization that we have, and it's like working great so far. We have the upper management, we have developers, we have senior developers, interns. So there is a hierarchy. But in an autonomous decentralized organization, there is no leadership. All the developers are same. It's a fully transparent and fully public activities. So anything that DAO does can be seen on a blockchain explorer. So let's say DAO makes a transaction. You can see that transaction. You can see all the data that has been uh, like executed on a blockchain explorer. So everything is transparent and fully public, and it runs on a smart contract. So DAOs is nothing but a set of smart contracts put in together with some specific conditions, and that's how it works. Like, I just wanted to give a disclaimer that right now DAO is in such an early stage that there is no standard on what a DAO is. Like if we talk about let's say a smart contract, it should have this features, then we can consider it as a smart contract. But in DAOs, there is no specific uh, code structure we can say that you have to follow in order to make it a DAO. It's simply a smart contract that does some work, and we call it a DAO right now. It's in that early stages. Let's before going forward deep into DAOs, let's see some famous examples. One of the most famous and the top most DAO is Uniswap DAO. Uniswap is an Ethereum swap service that you can use to swap tokens. It's currently has a market cap of 68.8 billion tokens of worth of tokens in Uniswap. Then we have Aave. Aave is a lending and borrowing protocol. It's like the main motive of the Aave is to be an alternative for loaning system in current finance that we have. You can put your tokens as a collateral, and you can borrow some other tokens, some other stable tokens. So it has a market cap of 22 billion dollars. Then we have MakerDAO. MakerDAO is an creator of DAI tokens, another stable coin. Then we have CurveDAO. CurveDAO is an all-in-one solution for any decentralized finance services. So all these are famous DAOs, and I just wanted to give an context like how far the DAOs has reached. Like the market caps are in billions, and many people are actually trusting in DAOs. We have 200 plus DAOs registered in Coin Market Cap. So these DAOs are verified by CoinMarketCap, but there are thousands of DAOs out there, and 200s are just verified by CoinMarketCap. So let's see some features. Each DAO has built-in treasuries, and no one has the access to authority to access. So DAO each DAO is just a smart contract, right? And each smart contract has an address which can store tokens. So this address is like considered as a treasury for a DAO, which store any kind of token that is there in that blockchain. Decisions are governed by proposals. So in an organization, we have many things to look at. Like if we want to hire new people, or if let's say if we want to add new people in the DAO, uh, any one of the DAO member will create a proposal, and all the members will vote whether to accept this proposal or not. Once let's say the proposal is accepted, the particular function will automatically run on the blockchain, and the piece of code will be executed. So this is how decision making is done in DAOs. Then we have so if you want so the main question arises is, how do I become a member of a DAO? It's as simple as holding the governance token of a DAO in your wallet, and you're a member of a DAO. So governance token is something that is the key to a DAO. If you have a governance token of any DAO, essentially you are a member of that DAO. So let's take an example of Uniswap DAO. If you have a Uniswap tokens in your wallet, you are essentially a member of a Uniswap, even though you cannot interact directly with Uniswap because that requires a minimum number of tokens. But essentially, theoretically, if we see, if you have that DAO's governance token, then you are a member of that DAO. Typically, DAO should be made with upgradable smart contracts. So this something that is quite complex to implement, upgradable smart contracts, because if we see a smart contracts definition, it says smart contracts are an like they cannot be upgraded, or the smart contract code cannot be changed. But we can somehow add some features which allows the admin roles or the specific addresses to upgrade a smart contract in order to add new features. And DAO is the example, like a smart contract that requires this as much as anything, because any DAO is constantly upgrading and they need to implement new features. And this is where an upgradable smart contract can be useful. There are two ways to basically upgrade a smart contract. Either you can create a new version of a smart contract. That's what Uniswap or Aave is doing. We have Uniswap version 1, Uniswap version 2 and 3. And the other way is you create a smart contract in such a way that any admin role address can upgrade the specific feature of a smart contract. This is how basic DAO should be coded when we first launch it. Let's talk about governance. So governance is just a smart contract, a piece of code that decide how a DAO should work, and it's managed by governance tokens. And usually governance token is equivalent to one vote. So let's say if you have 10,000 governance tokens, that is equivalent to 10,000 votes. So when a proposal is created, you have 10,000 votes to vote on that particular proposal. So this is an ideal case. There are many DAOs in which you can restrict it to only a one person or one address can vote once, irrespective of how many tokens they hold. So it at the end it depends on the developer who is implementing it, like what rule they had to implement in the DAO in order to manage the governance of the DAO. There are two ways to get this governance token. Usually there are two ways. Let's see the two ways. One is to buy from DEX or SEX. DEX is the decentralized exchange like Uniswap, Pancake, etc. And centralized exchanges are Binance, WazirX, and all the centralized exchanges that we use. So there are some DAOs, like let's say Uniswap DAO, whose governance token is Uniswap, and you can buy it on, let's say, WazirX. You can go search for Uniswap and you can buy the governance token. The other way to get a governance token is getting through some doing some proof of work, or getting the tokens from the original DAO members. So any DAO will only implement either of this. Like there are some DAOs like developer DAO. This is one of the most famous DAO currently that we have. It is a group of 600 very famous and well experienced developers who are creating Web3 tools. And in their ecosystem, the each developer holds one dev token, and each member can vote once. So this is how the developer DAO works. And Uniswap, you can always buy it on exchanges. So this is how you can actually get a governance token. So let's see some features of governance token. So governance token is nothing but an ERC token with some special powers. And this special powers gives you the access to vote on a proposal. So DAOs uses this token to count votes on a proposal. So it's, when I say it's similar to ERC token, you can do everything that a ERC token can do. You can send it to someone, you can add, you can sell it on a centralized or decentralized exchanges, or anything that you can do with an ERC token can be done with this governance token, but it has an additional feature of a voting system. So these tokens are mostly possible and mintable. So let's see what possible is and what mintable is. So possible is, if we define a ERC token as possible, then the in smart contract, the people who has the possible rule can anytime can pause the any activity on these tokens. So once a token is paused, no one can send it anywhere. If you have, let's say, 50 tokens in your wallet, that is it. You cannot send it or receive it from somewhere else until it's unpaused. So this is what a possible token is. And mintable is, the any user who has this mintable rule in the contract can create, or we can say, mint new tokens and send it to someone else. So this is what a mintable rule is. So each governance token ideally should be possible and mintable. Then let's go to token holders can delegate voting power to another account. So in this case, ideally, a governance token should has a feature where they can delegate the voting power to an account. Let's say I have 1,000 tokens and I has an opportunity to vote on this proposal, but I don't want to vote on it. I want, let's say, Digvijay to vote on it. So I'll delegate my 1,000 tokens voting power to Digvijay, and he can vote on it, even though he does not have those tokens. So these are some of the basic functionality. If you add it inside your ERC token, it becomes a governance token. Let's take an use case of a developer DAO. So developer DAO exists to accelerate the education and impact of a new wave of Web3 builders. So like there are many famous and well experienced developers like Neda, David, Sarah. All these developers has created a developer DAO, and they are doing some amazing work. Their goal is to onboard, educate, and support Web3 developers. There are many open source Web3 packages that they are building, and they are constantly trying to educate people to onboard Web3 on Web3, and they are constantly hosting Twitter Spaces, YouTube Lives to help and onboard people. So this is what the DAO does. They help people onboard in Web3. Let's see an example. So if we go to developerdao.com, you can see all the snapshots. Let's see an example of a voting. So this is one of the vote that developer DAO has does. You can see all the summary, all the description of the proposal, and who has created this proposal. And you can see the IPFS address. You can see there are 598 developers have voted to approve this proposal, and 2 developers has voted to deny this proposal. So this is how the members of a DAO can create a proposal and vote on it in order to make any feature new implementation inside a DAO. Yeah. Next, we'll see an example of Learn DAO, a coding example. So Learn DAO is something that I've created for the ETH Global Hackathon. Learn DAO is an DAO where people can write articles, create tutorials for the Web3 ecosystem, and they get tokens as an incentive from the DAO treasury. So people will have to create a proposal to write a tutorial, let's say, and the other DAO members will vote on it whether he should be allowed to write this tutorial or not. And once the proposal is accepted, they will have a window period where they'll write a tutorial. And once the tutorial is published on the LearnDAO website, you can the amount of incentives will be directly given to the writer's account. So if you visit the LearnDAO, you can see these are the 3 articles that has been written, and people have actually received the tokens when they write these tutorials on LearnDAO. You can always go, you can connect your wallet, and let's see an example. If you connect an wallet, it's currently running on a Mumbai Matic. If you go to dashboard, you can see all the past proposals. All these proposals are executed. This one is defeated. That means not enough approval vote has been received for this proposal. Let's see this proposal. This proposal was to is to write an article on what is DAO. The user has explained it. This is the name of the user that has created this proposal. You can see the IPFS. All this content is stored in IPFS. Then you can see the date when it was started, the block number, the snapshot block number, and 170 tokens has been given for the vote for in this proposal. You can see the voting is closed. So this is how a learn DAO works. And let's see an coding example. So basically, Learn DAO's core concept is built using two smart contracts. One is the learn governor.sol and the one is learn token.sol. So learn token is a governance token smart contract and learn governor is the actual governance token that handles the proposal logic. So I'm using Open Zeppelin's contract. Uh, Open Zeppelin basically is an organization that creates audited and vetted smart contracts, set of smart contracts. These smart contracts are peer reviewed and audited by many third party auditing companies. So contracts that are provided by Open Zeppelins are 99% secure. I'll say there is nothing like 100% secure. And this smart contracts give you an let's say an interface, not exactly interface, but they gives you an basic structure to create a DAO. We can say it gives you ERC, it gives you contract to create ERC 20 token, ERC 721, ERC 1166. All these tokens can be easily created using Opal Zeppelin contracts. So I've been using the governor.sol token. So governor.sol contract basically gives you the power to create proposals. Then I'm using ERC20 interface just to call the ERC20 functions. Then we are using governor settings. So governor settings allows you to set some settings like how much time should an proposal should be allowed to vote on, and etc. Then we have governor counting simple. So this contract basically defines how you want to map each vote with. Let's say if you want to map one token with one vote, then this is what this contract does. Then we have governor votes. This governor votes actually does the calculation and decides whether the approval is accepted or rejected. And then we have vote quorum fraction. The vote quorum fraction decides how much minimum number of votes should be there in order to accept this or to consider this proposal a legal proposal. Yeah. So this is how a smart contract governor is created. You just inherit from all these five smart contracts. Then we provide all the settings. So here we are providing a name to the our governor contract. Then we are providing some settings. Then we are providing our governance token address. This underscore token contains the address of our governance token. Yeah. Then we have add members. So this functions basically depends on how you want to structure your DAO. So in my case, anyone can just pay 10 DAI tokens and can become a member of the DAO. So this function basically accepts 10 DAI token and then give you 10 governance token in response. That will eventually make you a member of the DAO. Then we have set accepted proposal function that will just accept when once the proposal is completed and executed. This will just keep on track of which user was the one to create this proposal. Then we have disperse incentive. So once the uh, tutorial or an article is published, this function will be automatically be called by a smart contract that will disperse a fixed amount of token that was decided to the author's account. Then you have receive it for transaction. This is just an dummy, we can say a function call which will accept some tokens for the gas fees, because this smart contract will be making calls to other smart contracts and we need some gas fees there. Then we have a function to update the voting delay. So these all functions are some updating functions which we can make a call to and update some functions. These are basically all those functions that are required by all these interfaces and extension to be overridden. So yeah, this is an example of what DAO governance smart contract looks like. Now let's go to learn token. So this is our uh, we can say a governance token. We can say as learn DAO is a governance token for the learn DAO. You can see this is a basically a simple ERC20 tokens with an exception. It has ERC20 votes dot sol. It's you can see this is inheriting from many different extensions provided by OpenZeppelin. One of them is pausable. As I've explained, user can pause it or unpause it. Then it's burnable. Then it has some access control, like only the user that has access can pause it or repause it. Then it's again exactly as I said, this is a governance token, so it has to be an option to interact as a voting system. So here we are defining two roles. One is the pause role and another is a minter role. And this is a construction where we are creating we are defining the roles to the person who is creating it. So let's say I am creating this token, then I have the pause role, I have the minter role, and I have the default admin role. So all these roles are provided to me, and the admin role can add different pausers and different minters. Uh, then we have set mint role and set pause role. This function can only be called by the default admin, and which gives the rules to other accounts. And yeah, basically this is an EIC20 token with some other extra functions to make it a governance token. So this is not exactly what needed. This is what I needed for my DAO. So there is no fixed structure that you have to follow in order to create a governance token. Like it's open to your imagination, what you can think of that is required in your token, you can implement it. But voting is a necessary one, I think, because it doesn't make any sense like to call it a governance token if it does not have the option to vote on any particular proposal. Let's see some challenges and the unknowns. uh, Issue with the efficiency of the decision making in DAO. So this is the biggest issue that I have personally faced. Each DAO has some big proposals and some small proposals. Small proposal would be making any UI changes on a website or paying some really small tokens to a freelancer, let's say. So this votes or this kind of an transaction does not require all the DAO members. Or there might be a case where we want to take a decision, but most of the DAO members are not aware or not experienced enough to understand the proposal. So this causes a big issue where you need all the DAO members to accept a proposal in order to move forward. So there is also a solution for it. So there is this new concept called sub DAO, which is recently introduced in I would say in last year only, where a DAO can have a multiple sub DAO, and each sub DAO has a group of people that has the access for a particular section of a DAO, and they has the full access to manipulate it or update it whatever however they like. That feature does not require the whole community to vote on. So this is what an solution that this DAOs are working on. And despite this growing popularity, DAO has a long way to go before reaching full mainstream adoption. Uh, there is this. So basically, as I said, that the DAOs was introduced in 2016, and there is this very good story. The first DAO that was created was called the DAO, and it was like one of the biggest, we can say, DAO at that time. It had around 20 million dollars of treasury, and it was purely built on Ethereum. And in 2017, there was a big hack, and we can say vulnerability that the hacker was able to exploit, and he was able to steal $50 million from the DAO's treasury, and that caused to create the Ethereum blockchain that we are using right now. So at that time, the Ethereum blockchain that we are using was a different one. That is right now is called Ethereum Classic. So at that time, when this was a huge hack, developers decided to create a Ethereum fork, hard fork, and that is what we are using right now. The original Ethereum is what we know as Ethereum Classic. So the DAO was the reason people had to do a hard fork of Ethereum network. So that was the reason DAO was not that famous since then, because there was many security gaps. Now that Open Zeppelin has come and there is some basic standards we can follow to create a DAO to make it more secure. DAOs are slowly creating fuzz, and many people are like giving that trust in the DAOs. So yeah, exactly. Not all DAOs work out because we have some great stories to tell about how a DAO can fail. it's very risky area to be poking around with, because usually and mostly many famous DAOs handles millions and billions of dollars worth of tokens, and it's really easy to make a small vulnerability where a hacker can exploit and take all the DAO treasury tokens. So again, it's a really risky area to poke around with. And according to the Mark Cuban himself, he said that the future of a corporation could be a very different as DAOs take a legacy business. So, like no doubt, DAOs has a great future, but I think it's still a long way to go before we reach stable versions of DAOs. That's it. Thank you so much. That's my time. Thank you for having me.